Systems that save you time. Hopping on this recording to talk to you a little bit about systems that might save you a lot of time when you are running a small private tutoring business. I think when I first got started tutoring, I was really struggling with how would I onboard a student, or how would I make payments or receive payments? Let me take that back. What would it look like to share my message? And so these are just some of the systematic things that I may or may not mention in this conversation, but I've been thinking about quite a lot lately, because I see in a lot of the Facebook groups that I follow, people are asking these questions, and they were the same questions that I had. So when I started on this journey, it was really 6 years ago, but 4 years as an independent tutor, I was really struck with this idea of, I want to tutor online, but I don't know how to do it. And I really needed to wrap my head around it. I think the best thing that I did for myself as an online tutor is I actually worked for a company, and it got my feet wet. And I didn't earn very much. I have to be really honest with you. I didn't earn very much, but I was able to distinguish the types of students that I wanted to work with. Coming from the classroom as an elementary teacher, we know that we can teach everything that's put in front of us because that's what we've been doing for forever. And so then we begin to struggle with this idea of, well, if I am going to be teaching and I'm working with kids, I know I really like, let's say, doing spelling, or I really like doing math. And we think that we can do it all because it sounds so easy. And we think, oh, I'll just work with, and this is kind of what I did, I'll just work with math students, kindergarten through sixth, seventh grade. I can just help them. And what I quickly discovered was something that I really liked to do in the classroom, I did not like to do online, because my systems had to be built. So let's talk about the systems that you're going to use for teaching first. And I'm looking at myself here on the screen, and this is not a system thing, but I've got a virtual background and it's just making me look crazy. But we're going to keep it on there because then you can watch my hair wiggle around. So when we're thinking about systems or ways that we're going to teach, you really have to kind of break this down into pieces. First of all, when you're in person, it's really easy to run off something on your printer, to find a book and you take it with you. But when you're online, it suddenly is going to shift from being something that you're taking physically to something that now you're sharing. And you have to come up with a way for your students to, let's say, write on write on something, or they have to be able to annotate, type, whatever it happens to be. So are you going to still use paper and pencil, or are you going to switch over to 100% digital? And that's really kind of where I was struggling, because I thought, well, I could share something, but am I going to hold the book? And I wasn't really sure that I wanted to go and purchase a camera, a document camera, if I was going to end up purchasing something online and I could just share it over the screen with everybody. So that was kind of like my first hurdle, was what was it going to look like for me to tutor online? It wasn't as exciting as what I was hoping it was going to be. And I knew that I was making a difference in the lives of my learners by teaching them reading, writing, and spelling skills. My system suddenly changed. And I went from looking for things that I could share by holding up, let's say, a book, to putting the book online. Or instead of having a piece of, and I actually wrote on this, lined paper that I'm writing on, can we write it on a whiteboard, a physical whiteboard, or can I write online with the physical whiteboard? So that doesn't really sound like a system, does it? But it really is a system, because you have to come up with the way that you want to share the material with your students, where you're comfortable, the students are comfortable, everybody's kind of in that comfort zone. So you have to remember who your audience is, what they can and cannot do, and you also have to remember what your skill set is. And sometimes our skill set hasn't quite reached we're reached the proficiency level, we know how to teach, but maybe we can't put it all together to teach online, and that's where we have our stumbling block. And so I really want to, I hope this message is resonating with somebody. Like, I felt that way when I first started. I literally did. I want you to know that it's a normal thing, that you can feel like maybe you're a little bit underprepared to do the job, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to prepare yourself by actually practicing. And that's the one thing that I also want to really inspire you to do. Reach out to a friend, a colleague, a family member, and say, I'm going to try this. Could I borrow you for a half hour today? And could I just try some things out with you and see if they actually work? So the first system that I want you to do to determine is based on your niche, okay? And everybody told me this to begin with, niche down, and I was kind of obstinate, but I'm going to tell you, by niching down, I actually was able to attract more students and have a relatively fully booked schedule. I can always add more if I choose to, but I'm comfortable. I mean, I'm always accepting students, but I'm not like lacking students. So that's kind of where I'm trying to get at. There's not a lack of students. Um, and so you just need to figure out who you're teaching and how you're going to teach. Now, the next thing that I mentioned was invoicing parents. And when I first started tutoring, what I would do is I would just take notes, and I actually put it in a spreadsheet, because I thought, oh, if I have it in a spreadsheet, I can see everything there. But I only had like 4 or 5 students. So that was okay. But I would spend a long time on invoicing my parents, and they wouldn't get any feedback from me until the end of the month, because I put all of the notes on the invoice at the end of the month, thinking that that was really ideal for the parents. But then I had to do some thinking, like, if my child was being tutored by somebody and I was only getting a monthly report, was I really in the loop on how things were going? And so I decided that I needed to create a system where I could send notes home quickly. It was kind of already built for me. And then I could invoice. So the first thing that I did is I transitioned over to putting my notes on the calendar report. So, like, I would send the meeting link through Google Calendar. And then each time they got that, they'd get a different meeting link. And then at the end, I would then just go back into the description on the calendar and say what we did. And that'll work as long as the parents know that they have to go back in and see each one of the calendar events to see what's going on. And it wasn't super great when a parent would click on the wrong date and be in the wrong meeting and they weren't meeting with me. So then I was like, well, that's okay. I can just send them the calendar meeting, and I can always just say, this is the dedicated link. And that worked. But at the end of the month, I was still spending time creating PayPal invoices and asking for parents to pay me through PayPal. And a lot of the parents, I had to track people down for payments. Some people wanted to pay me with cash. Some people wanted to pay me through Venmo, which I wasn't using at that time. Other people would put it off, and pretty soon we were in the next month, and I'd already completed 2 full months of tutoring with no payment. And so I was like, I got to change this around. So uh, January 1st, 4 years ago, I just said, we're going to do, it might have only been 3 years ago. Let me back that up. It was probably only 3 years. I said, we're going to pay for the month in advance. And I had some kickback from parents. I'm going to be really honest with you, because they were used to paying for services rendered, not services in advance. But when I changed my system of invoicing from sending out invoices at the end of the month to before, suddenly I was getting paid for services, because I wasn't willing to show up for a lesson unless they had prepaid. Now, over the last 2 years, I've built out TutorBird, and I'm really, really glad that I've done that. And I speak very highly of them because I use them, I like them, I know them, I trust them, and their customer service is great. I had a big learning journey that I had to kind of wrap my head around using their services, but everything in the end has ended up quite marvelous. It's marvelous, because I have my scheduling, my payments, my email service, my parents have a portal that they can go to look to see when the lessons are and previous notes and any PDFs or downloadable things that I've sent home, and they're able to cancel lessons, and if I have open spots, they're able to schedule a new one with me. Most of them, however, just either call me or text me, and that's completely fine. I can communicate with my community, meaning my families, my students. I can communicate with them all in one area, and I'm not constantly going through my Gmail looking for the label or whatever happens to be and trying to make sure I have everybody there. I can quickly sort who I need to send a message to in Tutorbird, send that message out, and then I can always go back and see who I sent it to, see if there was anybody who responded. And the other really nice thing about using Tutorbird is on my Tutorbird website, there's a contact form and a sign up form. So, I mean, I kind of use them both. They're kind of the same thing. So parents can like literally say, yes, I want services from you. They fill out their child's name, their phone number, how old their child is. I call them. I get a little message on my phone. It'll go ding. And I'm like, oh, somebody filled out a submission form. And then I send them a quick email and I introduce myself and say, hello, I'm Sheryl from Tutoring with Sheryl. I'm so glad that you are showing interest in lessons. Would you be available for a phone call sometime this week? Can you give me a day and a time? That's another system. Okay. And then they say, oh, yes, I would love to talk to you. Do you have availability on this day? And I say, yes, this is when I'm available. Would that work? If not, we'll look at another day. And I always find time to talk to these parents. And I probably have a 90% confirmation rate. There's very few times that parents don't actually then move forward with me after that phone call because they know, like, and trust me already because they found me here on social media. And so whether it's on a podcast or you're posting something to TikTok, YouTube, X, whatever it happens to be, and you're just sharing your message, I really encourage you to continue sharing your message. Now, when I started this, I mentioned a few things. I think I mentioned, oh, I know my third one was going to be about marketing. Okay, so, and maybe it wasn't, but that's what's coming to mind. I do think that you need to have a system for marketing. And I think that system's going to look different for every type of tutor, and what your willingness is and how hard you want to work at marketing your services. There are plenty of places where you can pay somebody to do this for you, but I think you just hit the dirt running and you just say, all right, I need to get this done. I got to figure out a way to get it done. And I have tried a lot of things, and a lot of things will work. I don't think that I found the one thing that works 100% of the time. I'm constantly looking for an audience, but what I can say is that people find me on YouTube. They binge watch my information. They're just like, she's just a normal person like I am. I absolutely am. And then they hire me. So whether it's a tutor or wanting to learn how to run a tutoring business, or if it is a parent, once they watch my material and kind of go back, they'll watch one and then they'll go back in my history and watch something else, or they'll find a playlist and they'll watch through it. They're like, dude, I got to work with you. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I find space on my calendar for them because I think when you show up and you show that you care and you talk their language, what else is there not to like? So when you're thinking about your marketing, I really want you to think about who your target audience is. And then I want you to think, do I want to only do free marketing? And I've done that. I've done the free marketing. I'm going to just send everything out for free. And you will get a certain group of people to work with you. But I'm going to say you're going to need 1,000 views of your material before you get like some turnover there. A faster way to do that is to actually pay for marketing. And I have recordings in my course, Managing Your Successful Tutoring Business, that talks about this, where you can hire the radio station, which I've had great success with. You can do a paid flyer that gets mailed out. And I've had great success with that. You can do a radio ad. You can do a newspaper ad. I didn't have as much success with that, but I did have people. I could see that people were looking at my website because I did get more traffic. You can do boosted ads on Facebook through the Meta Planner and Instagram. If you post a reel and you're doing a reel on Facebook or Instagram, you can boost it and you can decide how long you want it to run. You can do signs. As a matter of fact, my background is blurred today on purpose because my new signs are sitting back here and they're actually, you can see them. So I thought, oh, we don't need to look at them. But I'm ready to post my new signs. I literally have one right over there, but I'm not going to share it. Come back later, you can see that. And those are going to go out because we have a weekend event going on in our town. So all roads lead to the park. And so I'm going to have one at every intersection that goes to the park. People are going to be like, what is going on? Guess what? It's fireworks. It's an event for kids. There's going to be kids there. So, I mean, they're going to be out. Trust me, my signs will be out. And I'll put them out probably tomorrow night because the event's on Saturday and I'll pick them up on Sunday. And so I won't, like, they're not going to be in the way. And our town knows that when I put them out, I come and pick them up right away. So I'm not really causing a problem. But I'm one of the sponsors of the event. So since that's another thing that you can do. Because I'm sponsoring it, I'm going to show up. So I'll show up with my little blue t-shirt that says Tutoring with Sheryl. On the back, it says Building Readers and Writers, one word at a time. I'm helping with the kids' tractor pull. So I'm going to be handing out ribbons. And so I'm going to show up. And I don't know what I'm doing because I've never done it. But okay, so what? I can probably figure that out. So I will be as helpful as I can be. Not saying that there won't be mistakes made, but I will show up. So this conversation is, clearly meant for tutors, but if you're a family that's seeking somebody who is compassionate, cares about your kids, and you've just stumbled upon me, I am a literacy tutor. I specifically work with the English language and I help students become proficient readers, writers, and spellers. The thing is that every kid learns at a different rate. Some kids need the information quickly and many of them need it slowed down, broken down into smaller chunks. And it just feels like you're walking through quicksand. But what I'm going to tell you is that's okay because that's what some of those kids actually need for them to become proficient with the information and to feel confident and to be successful. And so I'm really good at reading the room on that. And I adjust and my students do quite well. As a matter of fact, today I met with 5 students and they all 5, I gave them a spelling lesson on their list and 100% success. So I'm just going to say that if you're looking for somebody who like, and trust, well, that could be me. So you can always go over to my website and check out the information that I have over there. And now as our tutors, we're speaking to tutors, and I definitely need to go and open up my website to show you my course offerings, because this is actually for parents and for tutors alike. You can find me at tutoringwithsheryl.tutorbird.com. And when you come over to my website page, the first page is for the parents. But if you look at the top, you'll see that I have different pages listed here. If you go to resources, that's for parents. If you go to courses, it's for parents and tutors. And the first course that I offer is Crack the Reading Code. I really need to come in here and turn this to a 50-minute guide because it is more of a 50-minute thing. But I created a 50-minute course with downloadable PDF with steps and resources for things that you can do at home to support your struggling readers. And all you do is when you click this button for each one of them, it will then go over to a Stripe link where you can choose how you want to pay for the course. I happen to have this link set up, so they're trying to send me a code to confirm that it's me, but it will ask you if you want to use a credit card, a Visa, or a debit card, your bank, or a Cash App, and then you just pay me, and then you have access to the course materials on the receipt. So you want to look at your receipt and print that out. And that is the same for all of the courses that are on my website. If you have any problems, you can just simply email me. I will see that you've paid for the course and I will get you the materials if there's any problems. Coming down to the next one is if you are a brand new tutor and you are just figuring out how to set up your successful tutoring business, this course is for you. It's going to help you set up, launch, and manage a thriving private practice business. I actually have a tutor in there right now, and we have our one-to-one meeting coming up this week. I'm so excited to sit down and visit with her. So we have virtual self-paced course. We've got a step-by-step method for teaching your lessons, a pathway forward with your marketing plans, and ideas for sharing your message with others. Plus, you get a 1 hour power with me that I like you to purchase. I'm sorry, that I like you to schedule within the first 30 days of purchase. And then coming down, and that's 99 US dollars today. That price will change subject to whatever I add to it and whatever the date is. This course is for the experienced tutor, but you're maybe a little bit weak in some of the areas that I have listed. This is a course that's not only a course, but it's in a virtual hub. There are other tutors in it. You can connect with other tutors. You will have access to the resources found in the hub for 6 months. And the things that you will discover are the ins and outs of running your private tutoring business. You're going to learn more about tutoring in person or online, website development, creative marketing strategies, collaborations to grow your business, digital whiteboards, and more. Access to virtual trainings and so much more. You're going to learn how to launch a live course. You'll learn more about Facebook, Instagram, and meta management. You'll learn how to grow your reach with YouTube and how to create and use an email list. This is available to you 24 hours a day for those 6 months. And so again, you just click the course button for purchasing. And then the last one is really meant for homeschool families or even a brand new teacher, because if you're at a private school and you're teaching, sometimes you need a little bit more direction. So this is lesson planning for homeschool families. And this course is just a 1 hour digital course where you learn how to get started with homeschool teaching, what to teach, when to teach, how to manage your time. You see specific examples of the do's and don'ts of lesson planning. When you get this course, you get a free 30-minute consultation with me. The directions for scheduling will be on the payment receipt, but you can always just email me directly. And the course is currently being offered for 70 US dollars. You simply click the link, you get the downloadable Google Doc that has all of the information on it, and then also my contact information. So I want to thank everybody for joining me here today. If this resonates with you or you know somebody who this will be supportive of, please share it with them. I would love to continue supporting people. This is what I know I was born to do, and I continue to do it even though I'm no longer in the classroom. But I still am teaching, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to end it by saying make it a great day, and guess what? Keep the learning going. Thank you so much for watching today. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And make sure to hop on over to our website and check out our offerings.